Well, hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, your favorite person named Whimsy, or maybe not. Um, it's very late. It's about 4 in the morning. I'm having insomnia. Of course, I slept in late, full disclosure. Um, I've spent the entire evening meditating and thinking about this idea of how can I become happier? How can I become happier? How can I become safer, happier, safer, more joie de vivre? And it's the question that I felt like I would share with all of you as fellow sensitive people. How can you get back your joie de vivre? Do you find yourself depressed, unhappy, feeling down, feeling low? I certainly hope not. Um, there's been a lot of conversations about whether or not people should move here in the United States, but everywhere I travel to, I find that people are asking, should I move? I went to Sweden. I thought it was a perfectly lovely country. Unfortunately, I had norovirus and was sick as a dog, so I didn't get to see much of it, even though it was still a good experience. I almost wound up in the hospital, still like Sweden. Point is this. I talked to the kids working at the desk and at the hotel, they wanted to leave. They wanted to leave Sweden. So they were off to Croatia or some other place, which begs the question, where do you belong? Where in the world do you belong? Are you where you belong? Are you at peace with where you are at right now? Are you living in a city that you want to be living in? Or are you stuck? And if you're stuck, how can you unstick yourself? If you don't want to live where you live right now, where do you want to live? Or is it that you only think you want to live there, but once you live there, you actually want to come back home? And it was really just a vacation that went on too long, right? I've had that experience where you really think you want to go to some foreign country and the bed in the hotel is horrible and the birds are loud. Like when I was in Israel, I couldn't sleep. The birds were too loud. You miss your cat and all you want to do is get home and you think, I spent all that money so I could lie in an uncomfortable bed dreaming about getting back home. So those are all the questions spiritually that the world is asking themselves right now. It isn't just the United States that's asking this question right now. It is a question that spirit has called us to ask. It's kept me up all night. I kept going into remote views. I got to give people something. I'm a dancing bear. I got to perform. I got to give my audience something. I haven't really wanted to do meditations. I haven't wanted to do many remote views. I've been a little bit introverted lately. And then I came to realize that the remote view that I was supposed to give was about this idea of happiness, the happiness index. You know, the happiest country in the world, they say, is Iceland, Denmark, Sweden. These are cold countries. um, Israel has a pretty good one, actually. But the point is that, and Mexico does. The point is that we want to think in terms of our own internal happiness index. Our, where can you go and be happy? Where can you go and be happy? Now, One of the questions that I asked myself in the meditation, because many people tell me that they are stuck for whatever reason. I don't judge. I mean, people get stuck for various reasons, and obligations to friends, family, etc. What do we do if the person's heart is in India or their heart is in France? And the universe said that you should immerse yourself in the thing that you love. So if you truly love France and you can't get to France right now, then you should immerse yourself in that, learn the language, read the literature, as my mother did, watch as many YouTube videos as possible, particularly the nomad videos, so that you can experience it. And what happens is that your brain won't know the difference. Learn to cook the food so you can prepare it in your own home. Join local groups where people speak French. In plainer words, the message from Spirit is, to the best of our ability, while we are alive, we must capture life. No, we will all die. You will die and I will die. And it's really important that while we are alive, we capture life to the best of our ability. That we seize and squeeze as much of life from every moment as we can, and to, be responsible in our choices, but within that responsibility, we want to seize opportunities and seize the day. So this is why many of you are feeling this restlessness. It's interesting that as a remote viewer, as I do this for a living, and one of the things we do is we try to find where people need to go to. I put myself in the shoes of whoever I work with, and I try to see how I feel. Do I feel too hot, too cold, too constricted? Do I feel open in this location? And we often are able to find the place where the person belongs in the world. But I thought it would be nice if we could do the cards and just focus on seeing if we can't get a message from Spirit helping you find your way to your joy, to your bliss, so that you can squeeze as much from life as possible in every moment and not simply give up on life, depressed, sitting watching YouTube videos. I mean, come on now. Yeah, instead, let us look at what we can do to seize as much as we can from life, because the happier we are, the more we will be able to spread that happiness to other people. Our unhappiness does nothing to benefit the world. Or as the Hasidim like to say, mitzvah gedola liot v'simcha. It is a great thing to be happy. It is a righteous act to be a happy person. You are engaging in a righteous act, because that happiness spreads to other people. Being a comedian is considered a righteous profession, right? It's righteous to be a comedian, right? To lift people up and get them to laugh. I wish I was a little better at it. All right, let's do the empath's prayer and let the comedian in me entertain you with this reading. Sorry, I don't have my bell with me. It's in my kitchen. Okay, let's do it. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Let's go in. I'm excited. What will Spirit tell us we need to do in order to be happy now? Where do we need to go? Inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves. Now, I've been asked, is happiness just within? You can find yourself happy in a prison. I think there are limitations to it. I think there are certain things that a human body needs. And I think that in extreme conditions, yeah, people can disassociate and go off into fantasies and find and be happy in a prison, and this is because they're checked out or whatever. But if you're talking about genuine happiness, it's okay to ask for what you need. We don't have to be heroes and always do without. It's okay to ask for what you need from the universe. And what you need may just be a pension, maybe a room with a hot plate in Portugal or Spain or Italy or someplace like that. That may be enough for you. Or you may need something more. You may want a ranch in Kansas, right? But what is important is for you to understand that fresh air, fresh water, clean water, good food, these are things that are vital to human health, and great ice cream, right? Going to Europe and having a great bowl of ice cream. That's also really great. Some people love to travel, some people hate to travel. But keep living. The joie de vivre of life. Keep seizing life. That is really the message from Spirit. Don't just lie in bed depressed, watching life pass you by. Find solutions, All right, where we are right now, the star. It's interesting, the star, because the star is a symbol of being a guide. And we look to the stars. Cartography, for example, some people use cartography to figure out where they're going to live, how they're going to live. Yeah. It's interesting, Pluto, which is associated with death, that line, in me, it's Israel. Israel's just very transformative, right? And it's so interesting that my Pluto line goes down that way. But we think about the star, and historically, the star has been associated with. Just want to make sure that my audio is okay. Yeah, my audio is fine. But yeah, so it's very good. Yeah. So the star, yeah. So in the New Testament, for example, Jesus is seen in a star, right? The stars foresee the birth of someone. But even before that, the Tanakh, the Torah, talks about the importance of the stars and being able to see the future through the stars, which I think is really interesting. The 12 tribes and Yosef seeing the stars in his dreams. But it's interesting that the base card would be the stars. This idea that the star will lead the way. You have to go where your heart is. Maybe your heart is in Spain. Maybe your heart is in Mexico. Maybe your heart is in Costa Rica or Malago, who knows? But the star is this idea that the star will lead the way, that you will find your way. Keep searching, keep asking questions, and you will find your way in the world. Maybe you're a vagabond. Maybe you're a gypsy, and that's okay too, because your tribe is other gypsies, other bohemians, and that's a tribe too. Other vagabonds. There you go. That's a tribe. Hippies. Every generation they show up, right? Hippies, before that, they were beatniks. What do they call them now? Dropouts. And they always wind up being the richest people too, right? The dropouts. Aren't the dropouts always the billionaires? Like Gates is a dropout, Musk is a dropout, all the dropouts, right? Um, but drop out, tune in and drop out, right? So we have this star leading us. The star will lead us in the direction we need to go in. And we have the Ace of Swords as our victory. So, regarding where will I go, what will become of me? Will I find my way in the world? Continue asking the questions. Uh, Ask for signs. The star is also a sign or an omen. Let the signs pray, say the rosary or, the Shema or whatever your tradition is, but say your prayers and ask for signs and ask for guidance and motivation. And this will be a year of transformation and change for you that will lead you where you need to go. Look to the stars. The first house for us is a new beginning is coming to us. Portland, Oregon is a great city. I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I had a horrible childhood in Portland, Oregon. I got picked on and bullied in Portland, Oregon. I had a horrible childhood. Why did I come back to Portland, Oregon? I went to medical school in Portland, Oregon. It was very stressful, very traumatic. I didn't think I'd make it through the program. Why did I come back to Portland, Oregon? I came back for Powell's books, right? And a great art scene and the beautiful downtown area where you can just jump on a tram and go where you need to go, right? So every city has its pros and cons. But I have come to realize that Oregon has more cons than pros for me. And it's time to leave, right? So now comes a new beginning, right? But that's me. I'm a gypsy. I'm a nomad. I always move every couple of years. I think since I've had this channel, I've moved twice in Los Angeles, and then to Portland, and then this next move, I don't think it will be Oregon State because it'll be someplace that doesn't have as much taxes. Let's put it that way. So I'm researching, but just move to Vancouver. Maybe I should do that. But then I have to re-register my business anyway. The point is that you have this new beginning coming to you. And it's the beginning of a new home or a new foundation, a new way of looking at your life, of looking at how you live. And it could be reconstructing the life you have right now, where you live right now. That's the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is like a building of something new, you know. Ten of Swords is to be devastated. The older we get, the more people we see that we love who die, they pass away. We're disappointed by life. Excuse me. And it takes tremendous strength, despite how much we are disappointed by life, that we still hold on to hope or the joie de vivre of life. And all the more reason why, as we get older and wiser, and we are disappointed by life, all the more reason that we should strive to be happy and to this a little closer so everybody can see it. All the more reason that we should strive to seize uh, joy and life to the best of our ability. It's interesting studying different spiritual traditions like Tibetan monks and people that live in caves and just ascetic lifestyles. And one of the things that I have learned from studying those lifestyles is that death is inevitable, that you and I will grow old, we will get sick, and we will die. But what did you do before that happened? Did you seize life at every moment? Or did you just sit around waiting for the inevitable to happen? Right? This is the question. Ten of Swords. It's very difficult for people to get out of their bed right now because of this profound depression, but we have to construct it. We have to construct our heaven on earth. We have to construct the thing that brings us joy, that makes us happy. We must be realist about our current situation, right? Regarding the issue of our investments, our finances, our retirement, we must do due diligence. Is it cheaper for us to move to Guadalajara? $400 a month for a one bedroom. Is that cheaper? Or, is it a direct flight? Usually you can get a direct flight, right? Guadalajara, parts of Mexico. The great thing about Mexico is that you can stay visa free for 6 months. And if you live in some place like Tijuana, you just drive over the border and just come. They don't bother you about that. So you could rent a place, a studio in Baja, Mexico, in the safe area, the Zona Roma, is that what it's called? Which is very, very low crime rates and close to the beach, right? Or you could look at there's still some affordable places, studios in Cancun, etc. So it's just that people feel that they get more bang for their buck on their retirement living in retirement communities outside the US. And there are still deals to be had in places like Tijuana, etc., safe, gated communities. Nothing scary is going to happen to you. But what's interesting here is the emperor is logic and reason. And before we go running off, I'm leaving, I can't stand this president, I can't take it anymore, you have to really we all have to have a cooler heads prevail. This is very difficult for me because I can be very impulsive. I can be looking at YouTube videos, Midas touch, all that stuff we're watching. And I think, what, I can't take it anymore. I got to get out of here. I'm Tijuana. Meet me at the San Diego. Tell my friend Francis, you got the car. We got to get out of here. Right. So we have to, I tell you guys everything. But we have to be very careful about that and not to be so impulsive with this emperor. If you truly want to construct a meaningful life that's built on something beautiful, then you have to be realistic. For example, I no longer want to live in the United States. I will be leaving the United States. That is a decision I made based on the fact that there are just too many guns. That was the main reason I made that decision. I just can't live in a country with so many guns. It's not natural. It's it's making me agoraphobic, which is not good for my mental health. And so I know that I will be leaving the United States. And it's not because of who the president is right now or anything like that. It's just the guns. I've been feeling this way for a very long time. And rents, I can get cheaper rent elsewhere. And yeah, I'll probably go home. I'll probably eventually wind up in Haifa. But the point is that whatever, wherever, and I'm not talking about today, we're talking about 5, 10, we're talking about making a plan and building it. You guys thought I was leaving next week. Let me tell you, with the way things are going right now, my impulsive nature is to do it right now. We're talking about calmly preparing, which is something that David Packman has talked about. We are preparing for this. What kind of life do you want to build for yourself? Where do you see yourself in another 5 to 10 years? Hopefully not in the grave. In the grave. I'm done. I don't want to do anything. Come on now. Don't be so pessimistic. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to chant harder. We got to be optimistic, people. How important is happiness to you? That is the fundamental question that Spirit asks of you. Is it important enough to let go of your prejudices? Sometimes we want to hold on to things. I'm never going to I'm never going to let him forget what he did to me back in 1982, right? At least it kept me awake, right? Um, passion and anger, it makes us feel alive. Yes, right. That's the good thing about it. We don't get to have these emotions, maybe, on the other side of this matrix. So we got to take full advantage of it. But no, Eight of Cups is about letting everything go. And what are you willing to let go of in order to find heaven on earth? That's really the fundamental question here for you. What are you willing to let go of? Eight of Cups in order to find Shangri-La. I often think of the New Testament where Jesus says, let everything go and leave everything and follow me. I see many of you traveling, and it doesn't necessarily look. You may choose that you like America, but you just want to find ways to travel a little bit more in your life before you die. Or you may decide that you belong in Spain, Mexico, Italy, some other country, right? Because Knight of Wands is a card of movement and travel. Eight of Cups is to pack up and leave everything. And so many of you will be led. You will be led this year to know your destiny. For those of you who are trapped or cannot leave, then it's a spiritual journey. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Malcolm X when he was in prison and he was praying, and then he had a vision, and he became Muslim. But this idea that even in a place like a prison, he was able to have these spiritually enlightening experiences. And so travel and Eight of Cups together would signify that this person is leaving their old ways and is willing to be brave enough to let go of old or preconceived ideas in order to appeal to something higher. And that means having to let go of your old self. Like we cling to it. I want to cling to my old bitchy, cranky 62-year-old woman. Like I may be attached to that identity. And what the cards are saying here is be willing to let go of everything, including your sense of self, if you truly want to be happy. Be willing to take risk in order to seize life. The more risk you take, the more yes you say to life, the more life will come to meet you. Your opposition at this time is fear of judgment, judgment of yourself, judgment of other people. Um, I was thinking about this matrix a lot here in the United States, where there's fear of leaving, fear something's going to happen if we leave. If we leave America, if we go to Mexico, there'll be gangs and robbers. If we go here, always fear. And America is a very fear-driven country. And it makes me think there's some conspiracy going on where the media wants Americans to be fearful and not excuse me, and not leave America. Stay, like, to be serfs that never leave. There's almost this element, to never to be almost like the slave who's been told you'd better stay at the plantation or the Native Americans will get you, right? This indoctrinating this fear in people so that they stay close to home. And so we have this fear of the judge, of the authority, which is kind of interesting. Hopes and fears, our own health. And the final outcome for us, excuse me, we must find a way to bridge the gap between our spiritual natures, what it is we think we need out of life, and what we feel we can do realistically. I'm sorry, there's a bit of a glare on that. It's an interesting reading. It's a very interesting reading in the sense that what it's saying is we have to pair the realism with our heart's desire. You may find you have better health insurance that's less expensive, for example, in Mexico, right? And that you may crunch the numbers after doing, 6 months of research and find that you're better off financially in Puerto Escondida, you know what I mean? Or someplace like that. But Lovers is about finding that direction and that peace and that centeredness. But the big worry or the warning is that you limit yourself too much by fear. And this fear of authority and power over you could be limiting your own ability to let go and explore the world and see what happens. If you open up yourself a little bit, many great things will come to you. All right, so that is the reading for all of us regarding whether or not we should move, travel. Hopefully it gave you some guidance on the issue of your future destiny, that you will be led this year on what you need to do, what decisions you have to make. Many of you are leaving. Ask yourself what you can and can't live with. Can you live in a country with guns? Do you like the temperature? Do you like the climate? Do you have, your family? Ask yourself, because it's lonely to leave. So all those things need to be asked, right? All right, we'll do a couple more cards and then we'll close the reading. The sickle, to cut cords or not to cut cords. If you were to pack up and leave everything, what would you be cutting? If you are depressed and unhappy, is it because of a relationship that's currently upsetting you? And do you need to cut cords with it? Is the thing that you are sacrificing your life for giving you good returns? You know, if you're giving up your life to somebody that's just a creep, you know what I mean? So sickle comes in and tells us it's time to cut the wheat and the chaff. You know, it's time to start deciding what we need to let go of. Interesting also that we got the Eight of Cups. The obstacle is the child, and the child's obstacle is immaturity, procrastination. He looks at the jewels, he looks at what he wants, but he may not necessarily act, or he may act impulsively, and it comes as the obstacle. The hopes and fear at this time regarding the change and travel is that bad news is coming or that more horrible is coming because of the current president. I predict that many people watching this will leave where you're currently living to smoother or better places. For many of you who decide to stay, it will be the death of relationships. So instead of you going to another place, you could simply be seeing the death of the environment you're currently in because maybe somebody died or a relationship ended. If somebody in your immediate environment makes up the environment and they're gone, then the environment changes. But there's this death here and hammer and sickle, which could indicate a physical death in the home or a death of a relationship in the home. There's a lot here about idealism, you know, which is something that I suffer from, where it's always the grass is always greener somewhere else. And pie in the sky and castles in the sky, this childlike dreaming that we have to be very aware of, which comes as a warning to us to not run off without due diligence. This idea of the being in the maze, being lost and confused in the maze, going on a journey and being lost. And so there is a warning to many of us as we go through this year, because it's really talking about a year when we're all going to be trying to find ourselves. And we don't know if we're going to a physically new place or if it's a new place inside of our head, or our home life changes so dramatically because somebody's gone. In some cases, relationships dying, people dying. But as this year progresses and we find our place and we are working to create heaven on earth for ourselves and others, there's a warning here that as you make choices and you want to meditate and be clear-minded and not to be impulsive in these decisions going forward. All right, that is the reading for everybody regarding should you stay or should you leave. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you need to see me as a reader, you can find all that information below this video. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We will see you next time. Arrivederci.